in my pajamas if it'd be here.
Yeah, you could. I wouldn't be able to hear you complaining or
You could
saying
see,
anything
could you?
back, right.
Wow.
Here we are. Ginger's here. Listen closely because you never know what she's going to say. The broadcast is beginning. Here's Jacob has popped in.
Just barely making it.
Grab a chair. Maybe over here would be good. Good to see you.
Hi.
These guys are popping in to listen in on us and maybe enlighten us a little bit. Subject of insurance. Just grab your chair anywhere you want to there, Jacob. And let's roll. Brenda's here.
I know
Brenda's here.
Claire, but I don't know you.
Sheila.
Sheila, and you are, this lady right here. Karen Cooper. Karen Cooper. And where are you out of?
Here.
Here. And you're, see, there's so many new people.
You have presentation material, it looks like. How much time is it? This is an hour of our time. You're right, you're in it. And we're going to talk and so on, but you got it. But I don't have to go to the end for an hour.
No, it won't take long.
How much? Okay, 15 minutes, let's see. Let's.
Did you go home and take it all waiting there? You got that back your hair open? You know what, my hair.
If I can just get your website on what you got up there.
My husband do it, he goes.
All right.
Just go to the.
I get up in the morning and John goes,
Very good.
How you doing? Very good.
how are you?
Got
All right. What's your first name? Kendall.
Yeah.
We're,
It's spelled with Dale at the end.
Yeah. You're right.
He's got it. Here's Jacob for you. I might as well introduce these guys. I've used Liberty Mutual Insurance. Asked to come in, Liberty Mutual Insurance. Asked to come in and just to get a chance to visit with some of us. And finally, we married it up a little bit and got a chance to come in. But I like the format we've used with some of our other folks, where they come in and just participate in our meeting. If we have insurance questions, you guys are handy. And I'm going to give about 10, 15 minutes at some point and just come up and talk a little bit about who they are. But we come here every week, generally every week, as long as I'm going to we'll keep doing it. And on Thursday afternoon, 1 o'clock, until 2. And it's a collaborative effort where we come in and basically just say, okay, what's happening today, for instance? We're going to talk about stuff that maybe, I'll see what they want to talk about. Things that are common concerns that we run into out in the marketplace. Like, I want to wait because for any reason to buy or sell a house. Well, how do we respond to that? What commission do you charge? And how to respond to that? And would you consider reducing your commission? How you respond to that? And then I got 26 minutes. And so that's what you guys have here. It's just my best work up to date. I got room for 1 or 2 more on one page, and then that's all I'm going to do. But ultimately, that's some of it. Now, this is some of the rest of this material that I brought last week that I worked on and had to do with just how to respond to people that are, wanting to negotiate fees and stuff. Nothing wrong with that. They're negotiable. But ultimately, we're trying to protect what we're being paid also. If we all volunteer just to provide real estate services for free from this point on, about 90 days and none of us will be here and there won't be any real estate services to be provided. We will be no longer existing and the public will no longer have realtors. So that's why we've got to have some way to make sure that we, first of all, decide what is our value proposition. Is there any value in it? Is what we do have any value? If it does, then the public will pay for it. If it doesn't, the public won't use you or they won't pay for it. And so ultimately, we have these common things that come up over and over. So my suggestion here is that we're prepared for them, at least to 26. There might be 27, Kendall. One I haven't thought of. And when it comes up, we'll get together once and discuss how we're going to respond to that. I've got a friend in real estate. Everybody's got a friend in real estate. Everybody you meet is going to have a friend in real estate. Hopefully it's you. But if it's not, or if that's the commentary that you get when they're responding to your inquiry, how do you respond to that? And so anyway, so what I've got, 2 pieces of paper that you're just aware of, but we can talk about anything. But the one has got the 26 I've come up with so far. The things that just keep coming up that you might as well just be ready for. And then the other page, there's part of what I handed out last week, but here's one piece different. I had, I think, a couple pieces. This is what we talked about last week. The drawbacks to waiting, remember? Some of you guys weren't here. And then the next one. We already called it the drawbacks to waiting. Come talk to me privately if you're interested in how that works. We're not going over it again today unless it comes up just along the way. But this next one, I mentioned it. The marketability checklist. It's just a tool. Cal Williams doesn't provide it, I just have it. I got it 30 years ago in a class that took. I paid $800 for that class, and 30 years ago, that was a lot of money. You're still charging $800 for bowl right now, but that's peanuts now compared to what it was 30 years ago. So then I paid equivalent of probably $5,000 for what you're paying $900 or $800 for now. But this piece came out of that. I've shared it a few times, so some of you have probably seen it. But it is a way to go down the line, and when you list a piece of property, and ask yourself, what kind of a listing have I got? Have I got a good listing? Have I got a fair listing? Have I got an albatross around my neck? And so that's what that thing is designed to do. So it starts real quickly here. It starts with right at the top. Are we priced at the absolute full retail value we can imagine it being? Or are we any under that? So anyway, that door, we should, doesn't matter if they go along up and down that hall, you can hear what you're saying too.
Is there a door right here?
There's not one over there, there's
We
one over
need
there.
one on each side. They need to go in the restroom if they need to talk.
Yeah, because you can't hear.
You can't hear.
Anyway, so this basically is a checklist. You can use the checklist after the listing. You got the listing, and here's what I used a story last week of that property on Crystal Heights, where the guy calls and says, "What can we do? It's not showing." And I said, "Well, Skip, hang on just a second." I pull out my drawer and I get my paper out and I looked and I said, "Well, let's see what you didn't let me do to start with." And one of the things we looked at, well, you actually wanted me to, you didn't let me offer an above average fee, commission, average about 6% or 3% at least to the selling agent. I could incentivize this a little bit, maybe I can get some more traffic, but you didn't want to do that. Are you interested now? And that day he was. And then one of them, I think, was, let's see if it's on here, the warranty. Oh yeah, here it is, home warranty, fourth one down. That's called the service agreement. Do you want one of those or not, Skip? No, $500, no, I don't want to do that. But you got a 30-year-old house, Skip, and the air conditioner's rattling out there. And everybody that looks at it's going, if the air conditioner had to be running, it's going to say, "Oh God, I wonder how long that thing's going to last." And we say, "Well, we don't know, but here's a warranty to cover you for a year if you buy this house, and you'll pay $50 on the deductible, and they'll replace it if they have to, but they'll certainly repair it." You didn't want to do one of those? Are you interested today? And he says, "Yeah, I believe I am." So, and then what was the other one? Price correction. The top one. I said, "Skip, none of this matters. None of what we're doing will matter if we're overpriced. So are you interested?" Remember I talked to you and you wanted to start a little high and come down. Well, we did that. And it's not showing. Now that's about 1989. So the market's pitiful. Nothing's showing, but this is one of them. So anyway, I got that conversation, but I was able to pull this tool out of my drawer and say, "Skip, here are the 3 things that I think I suggested when we started that we could have done, we didn't. And now we've discovered that what we are doing isn't worth it. So since you're interested in making those 3 adjustments, I'll do it right now. I'll have the warranty on. I'll add a little bit of a fee. I'll add 0.5% to the fee so I can offer 3.5 instead of 3. And we'll drop our price back to where I said we probably ought to start and see if that helps. And so out of that, though, but that was the thing. The tool allowed me to just go back and say, here's what we didn't check. We checked no on that I thought we needed a yes on. And if I get enough yeses, we'll get the thing sold. But it doesn't matter if they're all yes if I don't get the first one right.
Don, you put this in your listing packet?
Yeah. Now,
I like that.
yeah, you put it in your listing packet and you can do it at the time of the listing, or you might not want to deal with it. There's a place down here at the bottom that says seller initial. I like to do it at the listing presentation where I'm just sitting there saying, hang on, let me go through my checklist and kind of see how we're looking. And then I go down the line, well, below market value, no. Yard sign, yes, I got that. Okay, no one do owner financing, no. You don't want a home warranty. We got to go through the CIA to get in the house. Accessibility is hard. We got a dog. We got 1,000 steps to get in. Move-in condition. No, you didn't want to paint the outside. Interior needs carpet. No. Full-term listing. Yeah, thank goodness. We got 180 days to get this job done. So that's got a yes. Pre-order appraisal. No, they don't want to pre-order the appraisal because that's $500.
But don't you think pre-ordering an appraisal, now, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
It's kind of a waste of the seller's money because the lender's gonna come in and charge the buyer, and doesn't matter what that
You're absolutely
seller's
right,
appraisal.
Brenda. 40 years, nobody said yes. So I never worried about it. I just said it's another no. You could. If I'm having conversation, that one right there forces me to stop and deal with. Can we get the appraisal at your asking price? I had to have Noah here because you're above retail. I got to remember to make sure and tell you that an appraiser is going to show up out here at some point. And if I do sell it for that, and there's certainly been more than once where I did sell it for what that guy wanted and it was over and it didn't appraise. And so it forces me to stop and deal with the fact, Mr. Buyer or Mr. Seller, I may very well be able to get this figure for your house, but I don't think the lender's going to reach it because I don't have any evidence to support it. Yeah.
I use it if my client wants to overprice the house.
Yeah.
And especially if it's been on the market a while, he's saying, okay, maybe it's time to order the appraisal and see what the appraiser has to say, because you're not gonna get more than that probably anyway.
Yeah, and let me piggyback and don't forget, I've done it. I have done it where we were not getting it sold, and we said, let's at least establish what we can get a loan for, and that's how I put that. Because if I get an appraisal, does not mean I can sell for that. All I can do, I can go right over here to 118th Street off of Sunny Lane and show you the house. We got the appraisal on it, a good appraiser, I recommend it anytime. And he put what I thought was a fair market value price on it. We agreed pretty much with what I thought, but we could not sell that house for that. And it ended up selling like $12,000 less than that eventually. But they had put new countertops in and granite and did stuff, everything we asked them to do. It wasn't working. It's on an acreage over there. And you've had a listing not far from there over the years, Ginger. I remember you'll know the area. And but that was the end. But I never said anymore. Let's get an appraisal on so we can figure out what it'll sell for. No, let's get an appraisal on so we can figure out what we need a loan for. And that's what we could do. We can say, if you'll use a lender that will use this appraiser, we'll just donate the $400 or $500 appraisal to you and let you have it as part of the deal. But you got to use a lender that will accept it. And that's the trade. But we know we can advertise it, have appraisal in file, current appraisal in file for this sales price. And so I've done it a couple of times, but that's the risk, is that you may not be able to sell it for that because the market won't stand it. He's using ancient history to justify that figure where we're having to deal with today and this current environment and inventory.
If it's FHA, if it, say, area comes out and does an appraisal. Would it stick since it's been done for 6 months, just like if somebody had a lender gift? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
because it gets an appraisal number or a HUD number.
Okay.
That 421 number comes up and it sticks with it for
So-
6 months. So that's some of the risk. Now, you can get a conventional one, and then the appraiser could modify it to FHA and not necessarily have to come back out and look at it if it's just 2 or 3 weeks later or something. So those are dynamics. But Randy, you make a good point. But in all of the years I used this, I never had anybody give me a yes on it. So I never had to deal with
Well, I have a lot of sellers to ask me
it. Yeah,
That's,
should I or not? And those are the drawbacks. What was your thought, Larry?
Well, I just wanna know if there's any disadvantage to getting an appraisal early.
Because it sticks.
Well, you're married to that number for 6 months. In other words, if it's FHA or VA appraisal, it's got a number that goes with that property address. And if another buyer came along and wanted to pay more, you're not going to get a bigger loan amount. It's set. The conventionals, they can get another conventional appraisal and another conventional lender, and that doesn't stick. But that number sticks with that address. So when they put that address in, then up comes this appraisal that's not 6 months old yet. You're stuck with it, whatever it is. So there is a disadvantage. There are some, but it comes up like Karen said, when you're having to battle over what to price it at. And we want to get as much as we can. We don't have any incentive to sell it for thousands less. We get paid less. I want to sell it for every dime I can sell it for. But ultimately, I want to sell it. We take all the risk. We take this thing, put it on the market, and we don't get a cent until they get their money. And it's a few minutes after that that we get paid something, and it's sometimes months and months or years later. So, yeah.
Do you think that, we touched on this yesterday in that contracts and forms class about, how when we have a contract for say 120,000 and, most of the appraisers are gonna do it, at value. Do you think on getting one, do you think it would be any difference in getting one ahead of time?
Yeah.
Because the appraiser doesn't know.
That's right.
that's contract.
Good point, Ginger. This is good stuff, guys.
Because,
Guys,
I mean,
I'm gonna get it over to the insurance here in a minute.
if all they needed was 120 and it's really worth 130, but they don't have a contract saying it.
Yeah. So your scenario is, I don't have a buyer. This is just a John Doe appraisal. So he just goes out and finds the best he can find, and that's what he gets. But Ginger's saying, well, when we got a buyer on it, that appraiser gets a copy of that contract. He knows what the buyer paid for it, he knows what the terms are. And his goal is generally, let's see if I can reach enough so they can make this deal fly. All they need is enough to get the loan amount and everybody's happy. So it's possible you can get a higher figure with John Doe than you can when he knows what figure you have to have.
The few times I've had an appraiser appraise a property before we list it, it's always high.
Yeah, and I think that's
And
why.
the sellers are so excited.
Oh, yeah. And that was my that's why I used the story of 118th and Sunny Lane. And I'll give the address, but I can drive you right to it, where I said, this is a beautiful piece of property. They made all kinds of improvements, lake out here in the back and everything else. And I could not sell it for what he appraised it for. The market would not do it. And what I teach them, what the truth is, the market is never wrong. You may never agree with it. And all of us that own property never agree with it. That thing's worth more than that. What do you mean? I got the long nails, And, but at the end of the day, it's never wrong. If they're not buying it, the marketplace is saying no. We don't have to agree. We don't have to like it. But if we're going to stay in business and keep continuing to get results, we have got to acknowledge the market saying that and adjust to what is it saying. I can defend it all day long. You remember my the 3 layers or the 3 steps. I got the S's and the C's. The words that start with F and the words that start with C, where we're on the market and nobody's looking at it. Frank, think hard. Yeah, you know. Yeah, this is review. This is review. If you don't know it for sure, we don't know it good enough yet. But the C's, I'll start you out. Let's go with the S's. Sitting. Oh, there we go. Sitting, showing, selling. All right, I got some. Do it, folks. What's the C ones though? There's the same thing except you use the letter C to start with them all. So Curious, I'll start you off. Curious.
Oh, I don't know, I'm just guessing.
That's for sure.
I wasn't here for that one.
Cautious, coffee.
Oh, good stuff. Boy, that's good stuff. Wild guesses. That's what these are.
Considerate.
No. Curious, which is sitting. The market's curious. They kind of like a cow walked up to the gate. I'm a farm boy. Cow walks up to the gate and put a new gate in and walks up there. That's what the market's doing. It's just looking and saying, oh, I wonder what this is. I wonder if that's got a gold mailbox at that price. You know, something that's curious. Sitting. Nobody's looking. Showing or competitive. There's your word. It's competitive because it's showing. Get that down, Darcy. This guy's that corner over there needs it. Yeah, but I mean, here you got to think like this. It's competitive, and that's where I get you guys walking in that door back here saying, Don, I cannot get that household. I don't know what's wrong with it. I've got it priced right. There's the key word. That's how I always know it's competitive. It's priced right. People are looking at it. What can I do? And I said, well, I guess you got to adjust it from competitive to compelling or selling. But those are the three. But if you think in your mind, where am I? Is it showing at all? Or once a month? That isn't showing. That's sitting. You are 3 to 5% and maybe more overpriced if that's what's happening. The reality is, I don't care if you got an appraisal or not, Blair. You got an appraisal on this thing that says it's worth this. My God, we can get a loan for that. Look. I mean, that's how we're feeling. It's competitive. What competitive is, well, they're looking. And I remember what's her name? Eileen Kitchens. I'll never forget that conversation where I had that house over in Hefner Village. It showed 50 to 60 times. And I got the call, Don, can you advertise a little more to get this thing sold? My gosh, my brother's bugging the heck out of me. It's an estate deal. I said, Eileen, I thought you wanted to sell it. Well, that's what I'm calling about. Well, of course I want to sell it. Well, I sold it 60 times already. We've only been on the market like 90 days. It was showing every day almost. But if I advertise more, I'm just going to get you no's faster. Is there anything you're willing to do to get a yes? Because I've already got it. It should have sold by 12. 10 to 12 people looking at that house should have sold it. 60 have looked at it and said, no, I got all the no's I can handle. I need to get a yes. Are you in? And so I said, what I think you need to do, because of those metal cabinets in that kitchen, that's the only problem. It's a beautiful place. Nobody wants those metal cabinets. We got to drop this thing 5,000 or so, and I think it'll sell. So she said, well, I think you're right. So that's all I can do. If you want 100 no's a month, we can advertise more and more and more and get 100 no's. But you got to have a yes, or brother's still going to be mad. Are you reporting? Are you telling him Warwick's getting 60 showings in 60 days or whatever it was? Are you telling him how fantastic we are? We're getting showings every day. And then that's the other one, more over there on 64th. 9 showings in 1 week. Put it on the market, 9 showings. I see him Sunday morning at church and he comes walking in. He's cocky. We are going to sell this and it's hot. Woo! He said, man, we're just any minute now going to sell this house. I said, Don, that's the difference between the pros and amateurs. You saw 10 maybes and I saw 10 no's. I think we might have to make a price correction here because we've already had 9 no's in a week. 9 people didn't want it. That's what I saw. I didn't even get a maybe. Did anybody come back to look twice? No. Did I get any feedback saying that you're in our top 2? No. Well, that means we're overpriced, even though our marketing is powerful enough to get 9 showings in the week in the first week. You still got 9 no's. So I go back to Eileen's story. How many no's you want a month? I can kick them up. But that's not what we're doing. So ultimately, coming back to, the pricing issue, it's real easy for us to know where we are because the market's telling us. Market's telling us you're in curious mode, Don. They're walking up like that cow, looking at that thing and saying, I wonder why it's that price. And usually the nose is up a little. And then, or they're coming along and they're looking. Yeah, I think let's better take a look at this one, see how it smells. And we look at that, that's competitive or showing. But it's still not selling. If that's still not selling, we're 1 to 3% off. Not much. Maybe just 1% is all. But somewhere between 1 and 3 is all we are after. So it's so powerful to be able to tell your seller, listen, the traffic is telling me that we are 3 to 5% overpriced or more, or we're 1 to 3% overpriced, or we are right on. We're in the top 2, the last 3 showings we've had. We've had showings virtually every day, or at least 3-4 times a week. And so we're in, I think, selling mode. Let's just let it happen. We've only been on the market 2 weeks. But here's the deal. I'll pull up on that computer the number of showings to pending. Anybody remember? I did that last week. Anybody remember how many it is when showing time?
We're also 13.
There you are. It's 10 to 15 is what the last one was in the Moore school districts. 10 to 15 showings. 15 is average, 10 is median. The median number of showings to a contract. And they're tracking it now through showing time. That started, I can't remember now, last fall sometime, where that machinery kicked in. And with showing time, when you use showing time, it records how often it's showing and all that. Now they can put that stat on there and just say, you can stand there, pull it out right on your computer screen and say, here, median number of showings to a pending contract in March was 9 or 10. And if we just want to use the average, it's always a little higher, and the average is 15 in your school district or in your territory, your zip code. You can search it that type. And that is where we know we're overpriced. If we went past that average or that median number, we don't have to sit around and wonder, I wonder if I'm overpriced. You know you are. Because you should have had a buyer by now. And it may be that it's worth it and it's just unusual. And the majority of the population doesn't want this particular style or location or something like that. It may be you just have to be a little more patient sometimes. But if this is a fairly conforming property, it's just kind of typical. And they're doing that. They're overpriced. And so it's just a conversation, and that's the one I had with the sellers. Just say, listen, from what I'm gathering from the marketplace, it looks like we're somewhere between 1 and 3% overpriced. Are you suggesting maybe we make an adjustment? Yeah, I think I will. How much? 1, 2, or 3? Which one do you think they always take? 1, Frank, you're absolutely right. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. They always want 1%. And sometimes I'll just say, let's just adjust it 1 and see what happens. That's just $2,000. Well, let me see what happens. Let's measure it for another 10 days and see if we're still sitting, showing, or in a competitive role, or did we get an offer? Yeah, Karen.
Okay, so here's my question. If you have a client, I've got a couple this way. They say, I want to sell a house as is. I don't want to do anything to it. But you're looking at it going, boy, a little bit of paint would go a long way. Or, if you updated this kitchen just a little bit, at what point do you recommend to them that they update for a better bang for the buck?
That's beautiful. I don't know which one that is that's on the list. I want to sell as is, or I don't want to fix anything. And I have suggested there that one of the keys is my wholesale retail conversation. Now let's deal with it. That they say that. I say, well, I understand. We've got a lot of people out there, I'm actually one of them, that are looking for a wholesale house, which means it needs paint, it needs this stuff that you don't want to do. We got people out there that are looking for that stuff. In fact, they'll go to the remarks section, the public remarks section in our MLS, and realtors will put in as is, needs work, investors only, TLC, right in the remarks. So we put a little asterisk between the word as and after the word is, and it pulls up everything that's got those words in those remarks. And when it does, these people will flock to pay a wholesale price for a wholesale house But what I gotta get clear for you is this. If you're thinking of getting a retail price for your wholesale house, then we're probably gonna be setting the wrong expectation if we let you think that you could get retail for wholesale condition. So we'll sell wholesale house for wholesale price. Let's go. Here's what I think we need to adjust it to with the condition you're gonna wanna leave it in. And then it's a wholesale, but have that conversation. But most of the time, Karen, we're dealing with the guy that wants the retail price for it. And he doesn't want to do anything and leaves it in wholesale condition.
Yeah.
So anytime they say, I don't want to fix anything, or it's as is, no problem. But we're selling a wholesale house by your own description. You said it needs, I'm not doing these things, not me. I ain't got to that yet. You're saying to me right up front, I'm not fixing anything. No problem. We got buyers for these kind of houses all over the place. They're looking. Now, they're paying about 70% of what they could get for it if they fixed it up. And so if you're in the mood for, selling for about 70% of what you could get retail price for it, I've got people lined up that are investors that will take that, put a few $1,000s in it, turn around and make a retail house out of it, or sell it, or keep it and just rent it out and let it become a cash flow scenario. But they can't pay retail. That guy cannot pay retail and come out. He's got to pay wholesale, and you're offering him that opportunity here. Now, are you in? Or would you like to talk more like what you need to do in order to get that retail figure that you've been suggesting to me when you looked at Zillow? You looked at Zillow and it said this, and that's what you're telling me you want. But that figure is assuming that everything inside this house is new and updated and clean and perfect condition. They have flown over at 30,000, looked down and said, looks to me like about 200,000. They have not walked up to the front porch and they have not smelled this house. So they can't really price it until they smell it, as far as I'm concerned. So, but that's the thing. That's what that list is for. I'd love us to just do, but that's one of them. Wholesale retail. And just get that in your mind and then help them understand wholesale does not mean retail price. And so then we got to figure out what's the wholesale figure look like.
Now, do you help them if they want to get it up to retail? Do you suggest people to come in?
Yeah, let's get some bids. You want to do this? You're telling me you don't want to do what you're saying sometimes is I'm going to sell it as is, or I don't want to fix anything, meaning I don't want to do it. I don't have the
It's
time.
elderly people, so
Yeah.
they're thinking in their mind that this is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, so one of the reasons you want to hire me is I've got in my phone here, the contractors that can do that work, so you don't have to. And all we got to do is call them and see what their charge would be to fix this and this and this to make a retail house out of it. And let's see if it's worthwhile. Some things that you put money into, you're not going to get 100% of the money back out of, but it would help it sell quicker. And so, not everything. I just printed it off. I don't know where I've laid it. We looked at it last week. Remember that thing? I brought that thing and said, here are the things you can upgrade in the kitchens and bathrooms and all that stuff. And the garage door was one of them.
That's the number one.
Remember that was number one, where you could actually get pretty much all your money back out of a new garage door.
That's crazy.
Crazy, but that's what the studies show, but nothing else, not one thing else out of 2 pages of things listed in 10 font print got you 100% back of what you put in. So that was why I brought it to you, to help make the point that part of what you paid for that improvement was for the enjoyment of it. And sometimes you got $3,000 of enjoyment out of your $10,000 investment. But we're going to get $7 back because people will pay $7 for it. They're not going to pay for your enjoyment. They're just going to pay for what it'd be worth to them. So pools are notorious for those kinds of things, where we just notoriously can't get back what people put into a pool. We got 20,000, 30, 40,000 in a pool, more sometimes, and we are not getting back anywhere near that when we resell it. I don't care how beautiful it is. So that's an example. But does that help, Karen?
Yeah, could you do an allowance? Like, could you say, this is our asking price and we're giving an allowance of $30,000 for upgrades of your choice? Or-
Kind of, I guess you could.
But
Is that
But you need to have some documentation as to what will it actually cost. So quantify, that's the term I'd love you to use. Hang on, Brenda, because I got a stager sitting here in the room. And stagers know this, kind of know this thing. But here, quantify the problem. That's what I'd love to, any problem, any kind of problem you're trying to solve. you can solve if you can turn it into a number. You need carpet, you need paint. Here, while I'm going past paint, Frank, let's remember this one. The paint's worth about $30 in the bucket. It's probably worth $1,000 on the wall. Which of those options you want? You want to hand them the one and say, here's your bucket? Or do you want to put it on the wall and get the $1,000? Okay, I'll pass that. But anyway, that's a good one.
Sometimes the buyers can't see that, especially if they've got three they're looking at. The one that's got the carpet and the clean walls and the current colors, that they're gonna turn it down even if there is an allowance. They can't see past the.
Yeah, the one that's not fixed, some of them just cannot imagine.
They'll just see work.
No.
They'll see work.
They see work, and see, here's the deal. Now that's why I like to quantify this. Let's say it's $15,000 worth of stuff that it kind of needs to bring it up to speed. Well, and you offer $15,000 to a buyer to say, just pick whatever you want, use this as an allowance for decorating, and we'll work it in. If they've got to do it after they close, they're going to price it with the inconvenience that comes with it. Because you got inconvenience and the cost. Now, if you do it, you got the inconvenience and the cost. And you can maybe just forget, it wasn't any inconvenient, but if you've ever torn out the kitchen, and got that drop ceiling out of there and went through that mess, you understand inconvenience. And so that's how I always pull up that one. Susanna pulled that on me one day. Called her back, went over to Rick's house. I called her, I said, "What you doing?" "I'm tearing out the kitchen ceiling." Oh God, we never even talked about that. And so, but I knew this, if she started it, I'm gonna have to finish it. And it is a mess. What was your thought, Brenda?
Okay, I don't think that you should, this is me, personal preference. I don't like to put in there sellers offering carpet allowance, sellers offering decorating allowance, because that's letting the public immediately know that there's something wrong with that piece of property. So a lot of people will just bypass that. That way, if they come in, now what I have done in the realtor's remarks, where the buyer won't see it, is, ask me about seller's decorating allowance, or ask me about the carpet allowance. I don't put it up there where someone can see it.
Because when you set it in the motion on the MLS and you put it in the public remarks syndicate out to every website in the country, hundreds of websites that see this is a wholesale house with a retail price. So that's probably some good counsel right there. But I'm just saying, the rule of thumb on repair, it's about 1.5 to 2 times what it would cost you to do it, Mr. Seller. If that's a $1,000 problem for you, it's a $1,500 to $2,000 discount for them if they have to mess with it.
See, I've even told my sellers, they don't take $2,000, they'll take $5,000 off, it's not even that close, I think. If it needs carpet, if it's $3,000, they're gonna ask you for, take off $5,000. And, it's so much easier just to have that done and everything's done, even if it's not what they want, it's clean and nice, they don't have to do it. I've had buyers say, this carpet's not exactly what I would pick, but it's good for a while,
Yeah, and that's some of if you're doing it in advance, one of the challenges is anticipating what the other guy would want rather than what you would want, because it may not be the same. But if it's neutral enough, we just go neutral.
I just sold a house that had brand new carpet in it, and the buyer tore it all out. That seller paid $2,200 for it.
Yeah, my husband just painted a house where they replaced the carpet before they put it on the market, and she pulled it all out and put it.
I don't know if it would have sold without it,
True,
But this one probably would, because it cost.
but she's also an investor. So she wanted the hard flooring instead of the carpet. She was into the hard flooring no matter what.
Yeah, that's the same thing as this one. And I had a buyer.
Just give you
Well,
be on the screen while he raised it. I didn't feel any hard, real to the world or what. Okay.
Okay, I'll ask, because I think if you get an appraisal beforehand, that they're gonna want the contract to match that, Or like it's better or it's worse? Because I'm mixing up how it is.
Goes both ways.
Yeah. So if you're not gonna do anything, you're just appraising it as is. If you're gonna do things, then you maybe let him know, we're gonna fix this and this and this, appraise it like that. But then you better do it if you get that appraisal. But the thing is, the appraisal may not still indicate what you can sell for. I have to reinforce that over and over.
Right, I get that.
But it does give you the number, what can I borrow? At least from the lender that will use that appraisal. Well, we use Aaron and 2 or 3 others because they're on a whole bunch of lists and they can do appraisals for practically anybody. And so that if you're going to use John Doe. But that was where that all started from. That crazy one, just that one, a post-dated or ordered appraisal, pre-ordered appraisal. This has got pre-order inspections even on it. So if you're not sure,
Why would you do that?
to figure out what you're gonna find out time when the buyer comes to do their inspection, because you might as well sell what you know you have.
Or fix it.
Or fix it. In other words, what would an inspector come up with? And do you want to negotiate it after a buyer is already in place and let him dictate what you fix and who you use? Or do you want to get it done yourself and anticipate it and start up with that and pick the guy and pick the quality and the rest of it? Nobody's doing it, Karen. Nobody's doing it. But it's on the list and it's no almost every time. But I need a certain number of yeses. Depends on the market. But if I don't have a good enough market, I need 12, 13, 14 yeses out of it. So I need all of them. But I need more than half of these need to be yes. If the price is a little bit less retail, I'm not talking a lot, but I mean a little bit less than retail, I need at least half of these check yes, or I'm behind the 8 ball. And they need to know, you got my hands tied and my legs here. So that's when Skip called and said, you untie my legs, I think we get this done. So we untied my legs, we had some commission, we had the warranty on, we, made those 3 adjustments and sold. All right, I gotta give these guys some time. I appreciate it. Now it's 20 minutes. This is Jacob. I don't know. I've met you, I think. What's the name? Kevin Don Ward. It's a pleasure to meet you, Kevin. These guys are connected with the National Association of Realtors, some benefits from them. By the way, right quick, I got a good question here, Jacob. What would you suggest we use as an estimate for an insurance premium? We're going to use you guys on a house that's $200,000. Standard house, whatever. I know you can't answer that question because you don't know the guy's credit score.
I know you guys use 1% generally, isn't it?
1.5. We're using a default of 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
The standard, the apps we're using are defaulting to 1.5% of the sales price as the figure. So that's what we've been using. You guys may be less, I don't know, but that's why I ask is do you have a rule of thumb on that? Or how do we know what to estimate if we're not standing in the room?
I don't think you could.
I think 1.5 is very safe. I really do.
Pardon me?
I think 1.5 is safe, yes.
All right.
But there's tons of other factors which you guys don't know. The age of the house, just like you said, the loss history of the customer buying it, the credit score of the customer buying it. But one of the benefits I think we'll talk about is multiple companies that we can write for through the issues.
You let you guys take off. That was what that 1.5. These guys are verifying 1.5 is safe, and that's all we need is safe. We don't have to nail it because we don't know if they got jewelry, guns, what their history has been, how many claims they've had on and on what. If they had claims on personal property losses every year for the last 4 years, it's a different figure. I promise you.
We're probably not talking about this anyway.
Theft and liability are the ones that hurt you.
All right.
I've met some of you guys over Christmas. I remember Kim. Anyway, this is a manager at our branch over in Norman, Kevin Talkington. I brought him along. He's been with Liberty for
9 years, going on my 10th.
going on his 10th year. And so he's very well versed in the NAR partnership program. And so I'm going to let him speak to that.
Yep. Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys giving us some time today. Been with Liberty a little over 9 years, but I've been in insurance for 20 plus. And so I know, different companies, different models, different things like that. The thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today was a benefit through the National Association of Realtors website. So how many of you guys actually frequent this website? When's the last time you've been out here?
I go to it once in a while.
Every once in a while?
Material.
Okay. Well, everything I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to reference right through this website because this is a National Association of Realtors program. What they did was they partnered with Liberty Mutual to enact this program to benefit you all as realtors. And what it is, it's a referral-based program. If you know a little bit about Liberty Mutual, we've been in business since 1912, so well over 100 years, primarily based out of Boston. Liberty Mutual did buy Safeco a couple of years ago, or acquired Safeco because of the West Coast presence. And so we've got a huge presence on the East Coast, a huge presence on the West Coast, and a big campus down in Plano as well. So Liberty Mutual is all across the U.S., as well as 23 other countries. So it's an international company as well. But very, very strong company, A+ rating and all the websites and different things like that. But the National Association of Realtor program that Liberty Mutual has in place for you all to actually give you discounts on your auto or homeowners insurance has been in place for over 20 years. And I'll reference that as we go through. I'll kind of use this. I know it's hard to see with the lighting in here, but if you go to the National Association of Realtors website and you want to verify all this information, just go under membership and go to the Realtor Benefits Program, okay? There you're going to see all kinds of discounted things on different partnerships and so forth. And where was I just a minute ago? I was just there, right? You all partners. Here we go. Let me scroll down. So you'll see all these different things. Let me get down to Liberty Mutual. So right here, the steering wheel. It says share your Liberty Mutual benefits with your clients. So if you click into that area, you guys know what your discount is on your auto and your homeowners insurance through Liberty Mutual for being a National Association of Realtor member. You get a 10% discount on your auto insurance and a 5% discount on your homeowners insurance. If you've never gotten a quote from us, we'll add that discount in, along with everything else, and give you the absolute best rate that we can. Okay. But what this program is a couple of years ago, National Association of Realtors came to Liberty Mutual and they said, is there any problem with extending this benefit out to referrals or family members or friends or whatever of these realtors? And they came upon an agreement and they said, no, there's no problem at all. In fact, we will incentivize realtors to send over referrals to us with a $40 incentive for every referral that they send over to us, okay? So for anybody that you guys send to us as part of this program, we have to establish you a client number, basically, because that benefit extends out. You guys actually get a $40 benefit, and you can see that right here. You can see that? You guys get a $40 referral fee as part of that referral that you send over to us, okay? Any questions right now at this point?
You have to be a member. You have to be
We don't ask for membership numbers or anything like that for the National
but
Association.
you have to have Liberty Mutual to do this.
You don't
You
have
have to be insured.
You do not. No, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
We don't have to write the,
It's a no obligation.
We don't have to, even if we don't write the business, you still get the referral.
It's a no obligation quote. All we need to do is complete a quote on you or a referral that you send over, and we will send you a $40 referral based on the quote that we complete. And it's all tied to that number. That's why I say we have to get you guys signed up. We have to get you a client number, and then we'll show you how easy it is as we go through this program, okay? So anyway, more than a 100-year company, 20-plus year program that's been in place. This program that we extended the benefits has only been in place for a couple of years, but I got a little quiz for you. So last year, 2017, how much do you think that Liberty Mutual paid out in referrals as part of this program to realtors across the country? What would you guess?
Millions. A lot.
Not quite millions, but it's still a little bit in the infancy stages. We're still trying to get folks signed up and referring as part of the program. But last year was over $300,000 that was paid out as part of this program. And keep in mind, it's not available in every state, and there's a listing of states that it's not available at, like New Mexico and places that have different regulations and things like that. But it is available in Oklahoma. It's something that a lot of realtors are taking advantage of. Last month in Oklahoma, there were several realtors that made over $400 on this program from sending 10, 11 leads through. And that's all it takes is you can refer clients, you can refer family, you can refer friends, you can refer anybody you want. There's no specific criteria that anyone has to meet to be a referral from you as part of this program. You have a question? Sure.
Let me ask you, since we're in Tornado Alley,
You bet.
how do y'all, like, when something happens bad, like the tornadoes?
Yep.
How are y'all on getting out and taking care of your
I
customers?
think it's great.
Because I
question.
know one big company was a nightmare
Yeah.
for people,
Yeah.
and that's.
I will say, it's It starts at, I think, every position at Liberty Mutual. I mean, my area manager, who's housed out in Edmond, Oklahoma, he will tell you that we're in business to pay claims. We are in business to pay claims, and it's a mutual company. We don't have stockholders. We don't have anything else. We want to take care of our customers. And I will say, since the acquisition of Safeco, it's gotten a whole lot better than it was, which was good before, because we have got RVs. I don't know if you guys have seen them, or you did with the 2013 when we had the insurance village set up over here at the First Baptist Church over. Yeah, we were out there every day. We had a cooker out there. We were cooking food for people. We were cutting checks right there that day. We got to go tour the tornado damage. We were out and about, and had the special passes to go out in the areas, and we were on the ground. I remember walking through. People were trying to find yearbooks and different things like that, and they were walking through boards with nails sticking out of them. And that's the kind of things that I think every employee at Liberty Mutual does. Is they're out on the ground, they're helping people find things, they're helping pick up, they're writing checks, they're cooking for people. I think that's the response that we have.
We had Liberty during those times, and they were amazing. So
Yes,
we appreciate that.
Yeah.
I Liberty Mutual too.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. That's what we want to hear. We want to be there for customers when they have a claim. That's the reason we exist.
I didn't have Liberty Mutual, and they were terrible.
You didn't.
And I mean, I had
Well, and
terrible
it's-
experience with,
Yeah,
my dad was a major carrier.
Yeah.
My husband's a builder, and he helped some people, after the tornado.
Yep.
And one company was a nightmare for people to,
Uh-huh.
get help. And, sometimes you start rebuilding a house and you get into extra stuff that you're not aware of that you're gonna get into, and
Absolutely.
horrible.
And just to add on to that, we do have a network of contractors that, as part of our network contract referral program, that guarantee the repairs or the anything that the contractor does for a year. So there's you guys were talking a little bit about home warranty. We're there after the fact with the home warranty on the repairs if they use our contractors and things like that. And we try to make it easier for them. We try to suggest that. We have the same with our Liberty Care Shops, our Total Liberty Care Shops for the automotive, which we guarantee the repairs for the lifetime of your vehicle and things like that. But we got a lot of good programs that are around the claims experience, and that's where we feel like we really exceed expectations on stuff like that.
So that referral program is only auto?
So it is tied to auto. Because RESPA laws and things like that, we can't tie it to the home buying process. So we tie it to the auto quote. But anybody that comes to us, as long as they complete an auto quote as part of that process, you get the $40 referral fee based on that auto quote. Yep. So it's been drafted by the RESPA attorneys and everything else, this partnership.
So they have to have the auto insurance in order to have.
They don't have to buy the auto insurance at all. No,
To
ma'am.
have
Just to
the
get a
homeowner's
quote. Well, they don't. If they want the homeowners, that's fine. But as long as we complete an auto quote, that's what triggers the spiff or the referral back to you guys, okay? I will also say that they can get a Liberty Mutual quote, but another great thing about Liberty Mutual is we also write for other companies because I know that, the competitive market out there, people want choices. We write for Progressive. We actually write Progressive's policies. We write American Strategic Insurance, which is ASI. We write to Homesite. We write to Palomar, Kemper. We write small commercial. We write all kinds of stuff through our local office there in Norman. If you guys don't know where we're at, we're just on the north side of Norman between Tecumseh and Robinson off 24th, where all the construction is.
About 12 minutes from here.
Yeah.
It's about 12.
It took me about 25. Go ahead.
We had Liberty at one time, but then we had to get rid of it. So
Okay.
Earthquake insurance.
We do offer earthquake.
You do
Yes,
have
we
that?
do.
Okay.
We offer earthquake. We actually offer Liberty Mutual's earthquake, which you can put on the homeowner's policy, but we also offer a standalone earthquake policy through another carrier called Palomar. And if you want a lower deductible plan or some other options, things like that, we've got different options available for you. But absolutely, we do offer earthquake insurance in Oklahoma.
Do you offer flood insurance?
We do offer flood insurance through the National Flood Insurance Program, but we write it right directly through Liberty Mutual.
But you do not have to be in a flood zone if you want.
You do not, and it's a lot cheaper if you're not in a flood zone. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have to itemize if you have like a total loss with your homeowner's policy?
No, not necessarily. I've been through claims, and what we suggest is replacement cost on your contents,
Right?
but you just provide a list to the.
So you do have to write a list, so you have to itemize each item. USA doesn't
Yes.
make me do that,
Okay.
so I just wanted, just wanted to know.
Sure, and it's on a total loss. I mean, they want to kind of know, because we do replacement costs, and I don't know if you guys know how replacement cost works. Basically, they pay a depreciated amount, and when you replace the item, then you get the recoverable depreciation. And so that's, I don't know what USA paid you, if they paid you a depreciated amount or different things like that.
I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
know that, I have a lot of family on 404
Sure.
who's a house in a tornado, and they're having to write down every single thing. So
Yep.
I know my USA policy is probably a little bit more than another policy, but it
Well,
only happens on itemized.
Yep, so if they have a total loss, usually they're just cutting a check for the total amount of your personal contents,
Right.
which we always write 75% of coverage A. So if you're a $200,000 house with 75% of that, I can't do a quick math.
125.
Do you do the RSAs, the 1-year home warranties that we have in our contract that we say we can, either the seller can provide it or the buyer can provide it?
No, that's.
I don't think the perils,
Service agreements.
So we
Yes.
partnered with First American Home Warranty. I don't know who you guys use,
Yeah.
but we don't personally, Liberty Mutual doesn't have a home warranty.
yeah, we don't want to compete with you guys, but that is a product that customers can buy, is a home warranty through a different vendor. But the perils that we insure against, if it's damages caused by one of those perils, then of course it would be covered under their insurance policy. But I want to say back to your question on, if we offer 75% of your coverage A amount, it's $200,000 house, they did the quick math, I think they said 150. You have a total loss, we're cutting you a check for 150 and you're gone. But if it's a lightning strike and it damages electronics, then that's where kind of the list and things like that comes in.
Well, I'm talking about like items inside the dwelling.
Mhm.
Like, is that what you're talking about as well?
Right, right.
Okay.
And if it's a total loss, they're cutting a check for the entire amount for
But
you.
USAA, you have to do that too.
Yeah.
Because we had them for like 25 years. We just switched to Liberty last year.
Well,
I
like
went
on
down
my
like
coverage, when I signed up,
$2,500
they
a year.
just insured for
Oh,
No,
items,
yeah,
and it
that's-
just says, oh, we'll just cut you checks. With my cousin, like on her house, she could write every new pair of sheets, every.
No, we're not gonna have you like that. You're gonna have a dollar amount, so it's gonna give you a flat dollar amount that says, okay, you're insured for X amount for your personal property.
Right.
And that's what, like you said, we're gonna ask you.
And every claim is different. A total loss, you're gonna get a check for $150,000, whatever your coverage is. If it's a lightning strike or something like that and it blows out the
Right,
USB ports on, 5 TVs,
right, I
we're
get
gonna say,
that.
what kind of TV is that?
Okay, that makes sense.
Something else you might look for also in your policy is if you have loss of use coverage,
Right,
we have a dollar amount, so we're gonna pay you this much in the event of loss of use, if that's what it comes up to. If you have a general term, just speaking from experience, it can become a nightmare. So that's something you want to definitely look for as well, is to have an amount that you're gonna be allotted in the event that you do experience a loss of use, like a tornado.
right.
Everybody and their dogs get their house rebuilt, it's gonna be an extended time. And you don't wanna be having to haggle over a gray area, so that's something else to look at.
One
All the
thing,
insurance companies that you write are just Liberty.
No, we're right, everybody's gonna pay, we have a dollar amount, yes, sir. Every one of them that we ride with have a dollar amount for the replacement cost, dollar amount for the loss of use. And it's based on percentages, but there is a dollar amount.
one thing my husband and I do, every year before tornado season, we will go through and take pictures
Mhm.
of inside closets, in our cabinet, because you can't think, And because it changes every year, because I buy snow, and stuff like that, and we move a lot. And, so,
Yeah, but typically what I've seen on a total loss, if you've lost everything, there's no record of it, they're just gonna,
yeah, right.
they're gonna cut you a check for the full amount that you're insured for.
Well, I hope I get blown away, it takes it all. All of it.
It's definitely a mess walking through that stuff. But let me show you a little bit about, there is a dedicated page here, but what I wanted to show you is a couple of things, and I know we're going over time here, so I want to be respectful of your time. There is a dedicated page here. It's kind of an interactive thing. It talks about these different steps that go along. I'm going to make this really easy for you guys. We've actually brought you guys the short little enrollment packet to get you guys the number, okay? And all we would like for you guys to do is, I really appreciate the testimonials. We got some cupcakes in the back for you guys. But anyway,
The little ones.
if you guys would give us a shot, we'll make it worth your while. I've got a whole team down there. John and Jacob are 2 members of my team. I've got multiple other agents in the team. We have customer response centers that are staffed till 9 o'clock at night, claims that are available 24/7, customer response centers that are available on the weekends. It's a Fortune 100 company. I think we're number 74 on the Fortune 100 list. So you know that you're partnering with a company that's going to be there for you, be there for your customers, and it's going to be around for a very long time. So I would really like for you guys, if you have a few moments to fill this out, give us a chance, see if we can benefit you guys. Another thing I think is a huge benefit is these guys are frontline underwriters. They don't have to go through a backroom person to get a policy for you. If you need to go to closing on a certain date, Jacob can write your policy and make it effective that date. If the closing date changes, he can rewrite the policy and make it effective to whatever date you need. So it's not going to keep you guys from going to a closing or get the closing done. He can get you the evidence of insurance to make sure that that closing takes place, because that's when you guys get paid, right? So that's what we want to make sure happens.
Okay, I have a question,
You bet.
and this has happened a lot. A buyer will buy a new piece of property, insurance company will not go out there and inspect the roof.
Okay.
After they purchased it, they say they will only insure 50%.
Okay.
So how do we avoid that?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think we've ever run into that. We use Mueller and we use reliable inspections. If we don't do an inspection within 30 days, we're not going to do an inspection. So we won't insure a home. We have a cost estimator, and so we won't insure a home for less than what we think it's going to cost to rebuild it. And that's what we tell people. You're buying a 1970s house. If it goes away, I can't build you a 1970s house. I got to build you a 2018.
No, I'm talking about the roof alone, just the roof.
Yep. So if the roof is damaged to the point where there's less than 5 years remaining, then they will not write the policy. But usually that inspection takes place very, very quickly, and we know right away.
Do they do it before closing?
If we write the policy before closing, yes.
Okay.
They schedule the inspection right after the policy is bound, basically. But I will say we have, just like you guys have a lot of partnerships, we have a lot of partnerships with roofers in Oklahoma City, and good roofers in Oklahoma City that are on our contract network referral program. So if we ever need a roofer to go out and look at a house, they know what Liberty Mutual's hits per square is basically what they do. 10 by 10 square, how many hail hits are in that square, and then they can rate that roof.
But what she's saying is like, if they call you and y'all write the policy, and then you don't go out until after it closes.
Right.
And then says, oh, this isn't insurable.
Right.
Right.
It happens a lot more than
Well, and then the buyers are calling us.
And that's why I mentioned the roofers. A lot of times we can call that roofer, we can say, hey, can you go look at this roof and see if it's insurable? And they know what Liberty Mutual's ratings
That's
are.
before closing?
Yep, we can do that.
And something else that's nice is that if I'll run a customer, get them a quote, if they're going with Liberty, great. But they don't have at least 3 other carriers lined up that I know exactly what their rates are, what their pricing is. And, in that event, we had one guy go out and, he's missing it also comes down to the customer being honest with us. If they say, oh, yeah, my roof's 3 years old, you get out there, it's got 2 layers on it and missing, shingles, that's one thing. But, we have other carriers. So in that unlikely event, we have options.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is Jacob had a situation where, Liberty Mutual's rating came back and he was able to place a policy with ASI.
And they give you 45 days. So even if they go out and say, hey, we can't insure this, we're gonna still insure the property for 45 more days. So get with the customer, let them know exactly what it's gonna take to get it. It's where we can insure with Liberty, or we'll switch it to.
Okay, right now I have a first-time home buyer. He's doing a VA loan, and I'm telling you, he is very, very concerned about everything. We don't know how old the roof is. They didn't disclose that. I went back with old disclosures when it was sold before and saw where somebody put 96, but I don't know if it was put on in 96. If you give me the information of who he can call today, he may even go through.
Sure.
Because I just gave him an insurance guy. That's why I was late walking in here, giving him some because he's real concerned about the roof. We're going to do an inspection, but that's still not going to satisfy.
Well, if it's 96, it's going to be actual cash value anyway. So that's really a moot point.
Okay.
Well, it's not got shingles missing and
No, the roof looks fine.
layers.
I'm not.
Loose.
That's the thing that we run into is just what you guys said, we have coverage, we close. 30 days later, or 25, or 3 weeks, we get the call and they say, I got a notice in the mail today, they're canceling my insurance. What do I do? And that's where we are never wanting to be. We want somebody who looked at that roof before you put the coverage on it, got up on it, looked at it, however many square feet you looked down the next, and decide, am I covering it or not? And then we don't want the call. So we'll do whatever it takes to cause that to happen if it means we have to get the roofer out there during our inspection every time. Whether you're insured or not, we might have
And
to call.
that's the safeguard is, we've got these roofers that are part of our network contractor referral program that are doing the roofing jobs, when the time comes and there's a claim, and they can tell us whether basically Liberty Mutual is gonna insure that roof or not.
Well, and if you've got a good roofer, that is a good roofer and that is honest, which I love my roofer, he knows what it's gonna take to insure that roof if it needs some repair.
Versus the ambulance chasers that always say, hey, you need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the people that we trust. That's the people that come in and are part of our program. But let me just tell you real quick about what you got in front of you there, in case you guys have any questions. The first one is just, the first page is just your okay to participate in the program. So you sign that first, the back of that first page. The second page is how you're paid. And basically what it is we don't need any banking information or anything else. We will issue you a prepaid debit card. And every referral that you put in, say in the month, we'll just use April, for example. You send us these referrals, these people get quoted, we contact them, we're able to quote them in April. 10 days at the end of April, all that money that is associated with those quotes goes onto that prepaid debit card. Your PIN, why it asks for the phone number, is the last 4 of your phone number.
No,
Can you do this now?
If you will.
The first two pages?
Well, and actually the third page as well. So we have a W-9. So if you're paid over $500, we're going to send you a 1099.
Oh, okay.
Which,
They say anytime Liberty cuts a check or payment out, they want record words.
and it's nice because we have a lead gen app, and I'll get that information to you. Everyone that signs up, I'll come out whenever your number's issued. I'll help you get it set up on your phone. You go in, it's name, address, I want to say birthday, email, and phone number, I believe. Maybe not birthday.
Can we do
Very
this
basic.
address here?
Yeah, that's
Whatever address you want.
If you get mail here, that's fine.
Wherever you want that card sent.
And then it's, then I'm notified via email, and then it also goes to the NAR database, I believe, through Liberty
So it's all
Mutual.
tracked to that.
So it's really, everything's above board. Because a lot of people have apprehensions, oh, we can't do this, we can't do this, and, it's a great program.
1624.
Plus,
I will say, guys, girls, if anyone is apprehensive about receiving the $40 PIP, we can set it up to where you don't get that. So you can still refer people over. You can still get them a 10% discount on their homeowners, 5% discount, 10% discount on their auto, 5% on their homeowners. But we have had people that didn't want the money, right? Or they didn't want to have to mess with that part of it. We can set it up that way as well. So any way you guys want to set up, we can do it. Most people do want the $40 referral bonus, but if anyone doesn't, just make sure we make note of that. We can set it up that way for you as well. But it still gets your clients that benefit on what you
You
do.
just put my name, I'll take it.
I just started saying, who don't want
For
it?
the discount, I do not have to I don't have to be with you guys for them to.
that's right. Doesn't matter who you're with. And it
Okay.
doesn't have to be customers. It can be your aunt, or it can be your bus driver, or your teacher at school, whatever. And something else I just want you to know, anybody that you send to us via this referral program, or even if you pick up the phone and call me, I want to treat them like family, and I want to make sure that,
And I prefer they didn't know about my $40.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I
We will not tell them now.
We don't have to do this, right?
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Well, is it, but what if we don't make $500?
Yes, ma'am.
So I can fill it out?
Anytime, yeah, they're not going to
In
send
order,
you.
we're not gonna, you can't get it on the program without it.
Okay.
And that's actually not just a little.
That's so they can track where that
What
money's
is this
going.
employee?
So can I have
Is
a
this
card?
our,
And then I can give it to you?
is this our license number?
No, you don't.
Just leave that blank.
Yeah, if you put your social, you don't need a tax identification.
Okay.
We only need one of
I
you.
have a spot for your social.
I signed up with
I promise you, we have recycled bins. Once these get loaded to our folks, we put these in our recycle.
and so we just give this whole thing back to you.
Yes, it's the last one. Oh, right. Just for.
Well,
That's what we do.
Can I call you with my social? I have
You can put your, didn't you say you could put your,
Tax number.
Yes, we are.
It's the same thing.
We are very cautious of customers.
Well, not necessarily, because some of you might get your, you might be a realtor, but are you able to set up an LLC and have your LLC
Oh, you
paid and
can,
closed?
I don't.
So in that event, you might need your tax ID.
My husband's got a tax ID, but I don't know what it is.
And we need you to sign also, so don't forget to
I do.
sign out there.
What is the employer identification number?
That's just,
We don't, okay.
Your social, and that's how.
and then make sure you sign the, yeah, right there.
I guess we're informed by ourselves.
Full price, right? Anybody have any questions on those?
There is a.
I totally understand.
That's what I said. I go back home.
I mean, even when I'm getting.
We can't submit it until we have it, and this is a,
My company did.
you know, it's all about reporting.
Put it on a
So-
newspaper.
Yes, so
If I get them $500, let me know. Why do I have to do that?
Well, we
Yeah.
didn't give it to access.
I thought it didn't have to, they don't have to do $299 unless it's reached.
Well, anytime we payment
Yeah,
I was told that if we have.
I had one law.
Close, that we do that with the program, we do have to disclose to them that we are.
You gave in.
I did, you could have done it.
no,
Now with.
Hey, these guys,
If somebody steals mine, I'll have to kill one of them, so.
we're gonna quote the auto, we're not asking you to sell insurance, that's one thing, we're not asking you
Do I
to
have
sell
one
insurance.
side?
We don't have to explain anything about it.
It's as simple as.
Yeah.
That's it, so look, we're gonna give you an opportunity to enjoy the same benefits I get as an armed member,
Any of that stuff.
if they allow us to. And obviously, that's our objective.
At the end of the day, quoting beyond, quoting beyond our treasurer's ask. That's why there's no risk to us, because we'll have to involve in
So
the
how do I get that?
thing that we have to
As far as
discuss.
resume goes.
Yeah, otherwise we have to, the point.
Yeah,
Hey, I was gonna say something too, what Dawn was saying about appraisals earlier. I used to do loans, did loans for almost 10 years, mortgages, and they used to do drive-bys, and I